And that for a long time, that was really hard for me to swallow because I wanted to be the chameleon my whole life. I wanted to fit in with all the crowds. I wanted everyone to love me, right? Everyone wants that. But in reality, if you really start to think about it, you don't. There's a lot of people you don't want to love you. There's a lot of people you don't. And what you want to do is be authentic. I find when I'm most authentic, I just draw the people that like me for me. Right? Because if you're really you, you don't have to attract the people that like what you're faking to be.
The concept of work-life balance, what it is more just like finding what works for you and your family, not really what the overall, I guess.
They always blame it on like, oh, it's because where I live that you can't make any there. It's like, I think it's perspective because I think you can make it happen if you want it to happen.
Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the show. My name is Monico Carrillo. I'm your host. But of course, we got
Eric here on the other side of it. I'm your other co-host here on the podcast. But guys, before we get started, like always, remember we're on all other podcast streaming platforms, not just on YouTube. So if you're on one of those, give us a follow on there. But if you are on YouTube, of course, give us a subscribe. If you like today's guest, give this video a thumbs up. And if you guys like the kind of the feel we got going on here on the show about bringing on interesting guests, share it around with someone that you think might benefit from it. But with that, guys, welcome to the show where an act of rebellion is the question.
Cool. So today we got round 2 with the Medicare Machine Factory man himself, Joshua Youngs.
What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Great. Life is good. Life is good.
So what good stuff do you got going on right now? And how's life?
Life is beautiful. Things are in full swing. We're about to ramp up on the 21st. The training for next year for Medicare agents comes out where everybody has to recertify. So we're ramping up for that on that side of things. And full swing, I've got a boot camp in Charlotte on Monday next week. So I'll be in Charlotte next week training some agents on a boot camp workshop style. And then got a lot of other things coming up. Doing a conference this year. Haven't done a conference before, so it's always fun to do something new and fun.
Are you speaking at the conference?
Well, I'm going to put on the conference. So, yeah, it'll be a different kind of conference. It'll be like a conference workshop. So a blend of speakers and then hands-on, kind of like a assembly line of sorts where they go through a training process that beginning to end gives them a plan to have a successful annual enrollment period.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to ask you a little bit about the difference of like workshops and then like speaking gigs, I guess, just how it is.
Yeah. The typical event's going to have a speaker, presenter type of situation where there's a platform, a stage, maybe a podium and a mic, and most people are sitting there without a mic and without a voice and trying to stay awake, and the other person's job is to engage and have energy and entertain, really, in a lot of ways. And most I don't know how many conferences you guys have been to, but most of them I go to, it's probably 80 to 90% mindset and inspiration and that kind of thing, and not a lot of meat and potatoes on how do you do this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They'll bring up all the successful people on stage, like all the winners, like network marketing.
Yeah.
And it's a bunch of just like, hoorah, like, let's go, you guys can do it.
And nobody says, here's how I did it.
That's because we've been to a lot ourselves too, and it's like, cool, but I kind of want to be kind of like, how'd you get there? Like,
yeah, or the people on stage are pitching you up a ladder for them to make revenue.
Yeah.
So there's the pitch, the speak and pitch is what I call it, where the presentation's a little bit of content, a little bit of gravy, and maybe a little bit of substance, and then to go into the next level, most of them use what's called a ladder system. So they start you at $47 or $97, and they work you up to $300 to $500 to $1,000, and they're trying to filter because some people will just spend money to spend money, and so you can make a training product for $15,000, and that eliminates most of the market. But how many $15,000 clients a year do you need before you can make a sufficient living?
Yeah.
Right, and so that's where how those conferences typically are set up, is one of those two ways: really, really inspirational, really motivational, or what you'll see is it's a recruiting funnel. So, in essence, they're getting a bunch of people in a room. It's the network marketing play. I don't know if you guys have ever been pitched candles or weight loss shakes or any of that crap, but for me, I take a lot of, because I've done both. Insurance really is network marketing with a license. So the government has regulations and certifications to have a hand in the game on this network marketing side of things. But the cool part is the beauty of insurance is you're not doing products that may or may not work. You're not selling product. You're not direct sale product. You are a direct sale vendor of sorts because it's not your product.
It's kind of like broker.
Yeah,
It's
you are
kind
a broker.
Yeah.
Well, you're either a broker or an agent. So a broker represents multiple companies. An agent typically represents one.
Okay.
That's the difference
Yeah.
between an insurance agent and insurance broker typically. So like your farmer's agent, State Farm agent, those are captive agencies that only sell their products. So that's why they're called an agent. And then you'll hear agencies like me call themselves a broker because I broker for virtually all the companies.
Oh, okay.
The ones that allow us and or are A-rated.
Yeah. So you say they do these conferences, they bring a lot of people generally for recruiting. In your perspective, is that the best way to recruit?
Well, anyway, insurance is not one of those you wake up when you're a kid and go, I'm going to be an insurance agent someday. It's not one of those. Almost virtually everybody, like I stumbled into it by taking a secretary job, but most people are recruited into the business. Because the people will see the lifestyle that it offers, and it does. If you help enough people and you put enough people in the right position, it offers a very above average lifestyle. And like I said, for me, I like to represent the top 1% of the top 1%. So you could take, I don't know how, you could take a pretty wide net from this location here, and you'd have to bundle up a bunch of agents before they outproduce just me, let alone the agency and other things. And so we're a force to be reckoned with in the small town game, but it's a wonderful industry that offers anybody an opportunity to really level up their life. I've got people, I mean, your cousin's one of our next people that's going through in essence, my front desk in my office, the administrative position is a farm system for professional agents.
It's probably honestly the best way because they kind of know the stuff
It's
around
the
it.
best training grounds I've found.
Well, that's how you came up too. Is like going through
100%.
the secretary
I started in that position, so I know, because in that position you get a taste of kind of a little bit of everything, and then as you go up in the ladder, then you start understanding what stuff you deal with on more of a frequent basis and what stuff you don't, and as soon as you can, you hire out and you repeat the process. That's the beauty of entrepreneurship is if you do it correctly, you should start to build out little splinter cells. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden you have a bunch of people, there's a wake of people. I have somebody on my team, last year was her first year, and she had land up near, in essence, between Estes and Loveland. So it's in the mountains there. She wants to build her dream cabin, and she was going to have to refinance the loan on the land for another 20 years or something. And instead, because of AEP and how many people she helped, she paid it off in cash in January.
That's awesome.
Went wedding dress shopping with her daughter and didn't look at the price tags. You know, and so there's, with the right amount of effort and the right amount of, stuff, the stuff being integrity, stuff being hard work, discipline, self-starter, contained in a box like you can't get out. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of person that can really excel, and you can change your life. Like, I'm in the process this week of picking out which Bentley I'm going to go get.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you
the
about
white on white.
The white
Well,
on.
that somebody bought that one out from under me. It was in Jacksonville, Florida,
Okay.
and I was gonna.
It's going to get really dirty with the kids.
So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Just clean
If you have a Bentley, that's the least of your problems. The seat's getting dirty.
Here's what I would say. And that's the fun part. The fun part about shopping for Bentley is, number one, not a lot of people can do that. Number two, I'm not going to get a new one. So I'm not spending $200 and something thousand on a car. That's stupid. That I can use half that money and put it into a business and 10x it. And so that I'm getting a used Bentley. But the really fun part about you shopping for a used Bentleys between 2008 and 2016 have like 5 to 25,000 miles on them.
So brand new, pretty much.
So you're shopping for a brand new car, but you're not.
Yeah.
That's why I had a choice. Do I get a brand new BMW or a brand new Infiniti again or something? Or for the same amount of money, for brand new, do I get a basically brand new car that not very many people have? And now is the maintenance and all that stuff. So a lot of people don't just do that because the oil changes and everything else are a little bit more unique. And so you got to make sure you have somebody that's has enough insurance at their shop to handle if they bust the oil pan on your Bentley while they're servicing it. So, but no, that's a fun thing.
Probably going to be going to Walmart for oil change and stuff.
No, you don't want to go to Walmart for that, I don't think. But yeah, no, that process has evolved from 5 years of the grind, 5 years of being in an industry where the top 20% do 80% of the business, just like every other industry. And when you build something like that by yourself, it's fun to see the rewards. And so I hear it all. You hear mostly positive because most of my circle, I've thinned the herd down to, negative voices go to what I call the block party.
How's that? Break it down. What's the block party?
Well, you if someone's saying it's negativity and you give them a chance to not be negative, and if not, then you find their name, you hit the little arrow, you find block, and you send them to the block party.
Oh, there you go.
I like it.
They go to the block party, and then they quack silently into the night, and you never, if you can control the noise into your head, you can control the output of your brain.
Especially on social media, it's so easy to do
Yeah,
that.
that's really
2 buttons maybe.
Well, and even on your phone too, you can block someone.
Yeah, quick.
They can't call or text you just as easily. So they got to be really old school and come knock on your door.
Yeah.
Most people aren't willing to do that. So but you've got to control what goes into your head.
How long did it take you to realize that? You're I'm just getting maybe too much negativity around me that it's draining me instead of.
Well, what I can say is anyone who starts to have any level of success, it's at the top and the bottom. Because I've been in both places. You find out who your friends are. You find out who really cares about you. Because when you're at your lowest, you find out who cares about you. When you're at the top, you find out who cares about you. It's what people
funny.
call and ask for. When do people show up?
Yeah.
When do people not show up?
Yeah, exactly. Huh?
It's funny because we were talking about the Bentley stuff. We were talking about it the other day because we've had a lot of hail here and stuff. People are like, when the hail comes, they're so scared to use their car and stuff. It's like, but that's why insurance was made for, so you don't have that fear. It's like if you have something, you're scared to get it.
However, with property casualty insurance, they can cancel your policy. So even if it's not your fault, if you become too expensive, they can just no thanks.
But the whole thing, the context of the conversation that we're having is if you're worried about your car getting hail damage, you're freaking you probably can't afford the car. So
the wrong mindset.
Yeah,
wrong mindset. But I don't worry about people stealing my car. I don't worry about car damage. I don't worry about any of that stuff.
How long did it take you before you started to actually want to buy yourself stuff? Because I see you got watches and stuff like this and cars. Was it hard for you to actually kind of enjoy your money a little bit?
Well, I know I go to a training called SWAT. And so if you're out there and whether you're in the insurance industry or not, this thing could help you. But mostly it's insurance agents that go to it. But SWAT stands for, what is it? I think it's special. I get screwed up every time. And so Nate is going to kick my ass if he ever watches this. Specialized wealth accumulation tactics, something along those lines. But long story short, it gives you the training to identify yourself and other people with a color system where the most I've gotten out of it is understanding myself. But so my personality color, I'm a high red, and in essence, most of your top 1% animal food chain, top of the food chain people are either high red or very very functional blue.
What does that mean?
Well, I can't give you the watered down version. That and it's in essence it's heavily licensed and stuff, and so
okay. So we have to attend the event.
You would have to attend the event to even get
free plug.
Like I said, you don't want a watered down version from me, because I've been to 4 of them. But even after going 4 of them, it's like joining a Brazilian jiu-jitsu going to 4 trainings and trying to call yourself a black belt. You don't want to learn from me. I've only been to 4. You want to learn from the person that's done, and that's the same thing in your online stuff and all that. Don't take the training from the guy who went through the training went through the try. Like, you need to get training from the person who's like doing whatever you're trying to do. That's probably a gold nugget number 1 that everyone should write down that's watching this or listening to this.
Take the training for the person.
Find the person who has what you want. Do what they do. And this is from Nate Alford, quote from. If you want something, find someone who has what you want. Do what they do, and you'll get what they have. So you got to follow it to a T. Most people don't have that discipline.
Yeah, it sounds pretty simple. Just you see it and then just.
It is simple. It's just not easy.
Yeah, there you go.
It's very simple.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you, but you see, like, on social media, there's a bunch of people like the smoke sellers, they call them. They're just selling smoke. They're not really going, like you said, they're not really going through it, and they're teaching you how to go through. So it's like,
They're selling you a course on how to build wealth, but it's based on selling courses on how to build wealth.
Well, that's a lesson in and of itself.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So a failed course that you take is almost more valuable than one that you paid for and thought you got value of. Because what I'll tell you, most people that come to my workshops as an example, how many people, because you guys have come to those, how many people do you think go home and implement all that shit I give them?
Probably not.
Because I give them the whole, do I not give them the whole blueprint?
Yeah.
You give them everything. That's the good thing about your workshops. Like, you actually lay it out from them, and this is exactly what I do.
But how many people do it?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Me and I already talked about it. We're over there in the corner taking notes, and we're not in insurance. These guys are in insurance. Some of them are falling asleep through,
Right.
So it's like,
yeah. But that's people. Most people look at someone like me or a really successful person, and they'll say, "Oh, they did this or did that," or they don't understand the grind that went into getting where I'm at. And if you look at someone really successful, now part of this is sometimes it is who you know, which is why networking and other things and being social is really good. I'm an introvert, so for me, I grinded my way the hard way, which is by myself. There are people that are much smarter than me, that make much more money than me, because they figured out that it's better to get 1% of 100 people than 100% of me. And so if you can get 100 people underneath you doing 1% as good as you are, that equals 100% of what you do. And so you scale that out that way, and you learn how to develop people instead of how to develop tenacity and all those other skills. So that's what I developed first, how to be a lone wolf. And then because I was burned, and so not burned, jaded, worn out, because that secretary job I took eventually turned into me being the recruiter, trainer, answer guy for thousands of agents across the country over time that I've trained in my life. And so I've seen it all. Everybody says the right thing. So everybody talks the game. Everybody says they want it. Everybody says they're going to do what it takes. Everybody says all these things. In reality, 7 to 8% of people actually have what it takes and will do what it takes to get what they want.
Yeah.
And the rest just try to pull you down. So I on my Bentley post, I had mostly positive, but I also had some people that basically said, think of the less fortunate. I do think of the less fortunate. I donate to the less fortunate all the time. I get that's the other power of grinding to a hard point, is if you want to change the world, you need money to do that. So if you want to be able to donate to good causes, first you got to make money.
Exactly.
And so I donate a lot of money to a lot of different things, but I also, my watches aren't $50,000 watches. They're Invictas for the most part. You can go online and buy yourself an Invicta right now for $180.
Yeah. Look, they look right.
You got one to match each outfit too.
I know, and that's the point, right? Yeah. And over time, will I end up getting a Rolex? I don't think so, because they're a pain in the ass. I don't want to have to wind it. I don't need to flex with the watch. I'll flex with the car, but the car for me is I spend 50 to 80,000 miles a year. I drive 2.5 to 4 times around the earth every year. So when I'm in my car, I want to be happy. I want to be comfortable. I want to feel And what better recruiting tool is there for another red who's motivated by money and trophies and winning? That's who I'm trying to attract. And that for a long time, that was really hard for me to swallow because I wanted to be the chameleon my whole life. I wanted to fit in with all the crowds. I wanted everyone to love me, right? Everyone wants that. But in reality, if you really start to think about it, you don't. There's a lot of people you don't want to love you. There's a lot of people you don't. And what you want to do is be authentic. I find when I'm most authentic, I just draw the people that like me for me, right? Because if you're really you don't have to attract the people that like what you're faking to be.
How'd you come to that realization that you're just like,
I guess I turned 40. I don't know. Age changes everything. And I've spent 18 years in an industry where most people I deal with are 50 plus. And when you deal mostly with people that are 50 plus, it changes your perception on life. And you start once or twice or 3 times a month or more now, I get a notification that one of my clients has passed away. And to me, it's like family. And so in addition to it being very sad and it being someone's family's been, forever changed in some respect. But for me, it keeps a constant reminder in my face that this isn't a long race. It feels like a long race. But it wasn't that long ago that I was looking at people that were 40 thinking they're old.
Yeah.
Now I'm 40, right?
I was talking to my wife about that. I was like, cause she just turned 30, and I was like, I used to look when I was young. I thought 30, like, ooh, you're old. And now I'm just like, dude, it's
not that bad.
It's not that bad.
No.
Yeah, it comes around.
It gets better and better.
Yeah.
And that's the cool part too. Why I like Medicare a lot is most people I deal with, and the ones that aren't, the ones that are mean or nasty or whatever, I filter them out. I don't have time for that. So yeah, the beautiful thing is most people end up in a place in life where they are happy people.
Do you think people who go to your workshop and stuff don't follow what you're saying, or people who go to any other workshops or anything, they don't follow it because they put you on this pedestal that he's so successful, I'll never get there?
I have several problems with the workshop. So the workshop is 1 or 2 days. It's hard for me to get people to commit to what I need, which is 3 to 5 days. Because if you give me 3 to 5 days, we could really go through it. But it's such a blitz. I mean, it's a lot of information that I throw at somebody in a 24 to 40 hour period. And so even with the recording, but I mean, I give everybody the recording. How many people do you think are watching it?
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Why would I do that, right?
Mm-hmm. I already went through it. I don't need to watch it.
Right. And you guys have had to watch it 62 times because you've edited the footage a couple of times, right?
Yeah.
And so, but I would guarantee you there are things that you've implemented from the trainings that have helped your business.
Yeah.
Oh, for us?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, for us, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
one of the first things that you were saying, you need credibility. You need a spot where people can find you. So we're we need to get a spot.
Yeah.
So that's there's a lot of stuff that we haven't.
Wear your brand.
Wear your brand. Why, if you're not proud of wearing it, why should other people? And it's a lot of stuff we're not in insurance. We're listening to it and we're taking it. And there's people that are sitting right there that have access to you for free all the time and they don't. So that's they don't want it that bad. I think
it's human nature.
Yeah.
Human nature is to want what you don't have and not want what you do have. Right?
Yeah.
Why do I want a Bentley instead of the Infiniti that works just fine sitting out there?
Yeah, it looks cool. Yeah.
Well, one, I think I've worked really hard, and it's money. I've gotten to a point where I can work really, really hard. I can help a bunch of other people work really, really hard, and because of that, my kids and their kids. My goal is to set this up for generational freedom, not wealth, freedom, because wealth is passing. But true freedom is where you pass on the skill sets. You pass on, the legacy is not what you leave for people, it's what you leave in people. And so the legacy that I want to leave has changed. My legacy that I wanted to leave when I started in the industry was I wanted to be number one. I want to be the top agent, I want to be the best. It was kill, destroy, do whatever it takes within ethical principles, within reason, and just outgrind and outwork people. And I took a deep satisfaction and pleasure in knowing on Saturday mornings, while everybody else was watching cartoons or playing golf or whatever, going watching college football, that I was out grinding another 15 to 20 people being helped, which put me 15 to 20 people ahead of the competition.
So do you enjoy that still?
Oh yeah, I'm a highly competitive person.
Oh, okay.
There are no free licks on me. You beat me fair and square, you don't beat me, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And whoever you are, like if I'm playing one-on-one basketball with my grandma, she's
getting dunked on.
She's getting it.
She getting crossed over.
All of it, breaking ankles, you name it. But that's what you have to. For me to get where I'm at, that's part of the ingredients that makes me, and that's you have to embrace you. The individuality everybody offers is what makes you unique and special, and that's what we're all human, but those who have figured out hyper productivity and being yourself. You guys are really good at being yourself. You have your brand. You're representing your brand, right, at all times, and you're doing well, I would guess. You're either doing well or you're swimming in debt, which either way, both are good things. If you're swimming in debt, that means you put everything on the line and you're taking the right risk and you're going to work hard enough to get where you should go.
Yeah. Yeah, for like me personally, yeah, but then it's like not for the right person to be in debt because the right person in the situation doesn't do the same things. But I was just curious, so like you said, you like work the weekends and stuff like that. So like one of the biggest things when I like stopped doing my full-time job, was because you get to that point like I didn't like it, it was pretty boring. Well, so I stopped doing it. Like, so now I'm wondering like, cause if I'm here, I'm good. Like I can be here on the weekends because it's something that I enjoy.
You flip the script where you're not getting paid for how much time you put in, you're getting paid for what you put into the time.
Yeah. And
you have that true freedom where if your daughter has a dance recital, you go to the dance recital.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah,
but if it's time to work on Saturday, you come in and work on Saturday.
Yeah.
But that's good.
Yeah. And how does your I'm curious, how does your wife feel about it? Like you working the weekends and all this?
Well,
because they always say like in every like business or whatever to have a great business, they call it like number one, number twos. Like so like is she like your number two?
Every great championship team has role players and leaders and everything else. And so for her and I, we are yin and yang, where her strengths are my weaknesses and my strengths are hers. And in some respects, that's what you want. The balance in life and relationship usually comes from opposites attract. That's why that cliche exists. But for me, I know what my roles are. She knows what her roles are. And together we've provided, I don't know, I think the American dream for my family. I don't know of anything that my older two, I've got two generations of kids in my house. So I've got 20 and he'll be 18 tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
So happy birthday, Ty. Tomorrow.
Happy birthday, yeah.
So in the concept of work-life balance, what it is more just like finding what works for you and your family, not really what the overall, I guess,
for us
theme is.
The family is the business. So the kids are involved. They all have branded shirts too, and they love wearing them. They're on staff. My wife's so both my sons are in the office.
Because when people think of work-life balance, it's like, okay, you work, but then you go home and then you don't work. You just put that aside.
That only works when you're trading money for time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When there's an end point to the day. When you're running your own, like I would challenge anyone who thinks that way to go volunteer to work at a McDonald's where they're the only one at the store that day, and they have to run all positions. They have to be the cashier, they have to be the fry cook, they have to be the burger cook, they have to be the putter together, they have to be the bagger, they have to be the cleaner, they have to be all those things all in one thing, because that's what running a business is. In the beginning, until you can hire a staff and you have enough money to hire a staff, you are all positions of the ship. So That's a people that look for balance are people that are employees of other people like me and you who take the risk to create the opportunities. Because if I didn't take the risk, then there wouldn't be people on my payroll.
Exactly.
So if you don't have people on your payroll, you can't talk to me about work-life balance. I don't care who you are. If you're not, because I'm creating work-life balance for other people. But then don't hate on me and my family when we have nice stuff.
That's the thing, yeah.
It's like you work for us, like
You
you're
should
gonna
be
be able to
rewarded.
you should be able to enjoy it.
Whatever that is for you. For
Especially
some,
like the people like on Facebook talking crap about you and your band. It's like, dude, I've worked my ass off for the past 5 years. Like, let me enjoy this.
yeah, well, and those go to the block party. Again, I control the voices that are in my head. You can call that whatever you want, but for me, that's how you can't keep a championship mindset if you let your pool get polluted. Like, if you guys had a swimming pool, how many people you letting pee in it?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't let anybody pee in your pool.
Yeah, exactly.
You kick them out of your yard, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So what you just gonna keep them in your yard after they pee in your pool? Because that's what they're doing if they're doing that stuff to you on social media. You got to give yourself visualizations like that, otherwise you'll never take action. But that's probably the best one I can give you.
That's good.
Someone's peeing in your pool, and it's yellow.
And you're swimming in a bunch of
Send them to the block party.
Get them out of there, right? Immediately. And so you have the same thing. Sometimes it's your even if it's your dad peeing in the pool, you kicking them out.
Yeah.
At least for the day.
At least for the day. At least
You're
for a little
temporarily
bit.
blocked. You might be able to work your way back in, but it's going to be a face-to-face thing, an apology and all that, right? And so you just got to have those kind of standards for who's in your pool.
Yeah. Standards. Yeah, that's what I think a lot of people don't have. They don't have standards, or they have not high enough standards for themselves.
Well, the standards they set are on the wrong variables. Just because you've known someone for 40 years doesn't mean they're a better friend to you than the person you've known for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Time, the longevity of something, because they've been alive as long as that's basically all it is for most of them. Like most relationships, how many points of contact do you have per year?
A lot. Thousands.
Right? And with each person, then you start counting. Okay, I talk to you twice a year.
So yeah, exactly.
Compared to the person you've known.
I have relationships like that are better relationships than people I talk to every day.
That's what's crazy about it.
So there's a combination of quality and quantity that you can have both. And most of us have been taught it has to be one or the other. This or that, red or blue, right or wrong. But there's a lot more gray in the world than most, including myself. I'm a very all or nothing, black or white kind of person. But people don't have the training on this. School sucked when I was a kid. It's gotten worse. Like, they're not preparing people for adulthood. There's no courses on money or how to bank, how to create a good credit score, there's a million classes that I would put into high school that they don't have now that would change the world. But the system is set up for a specific purpose, right? Which is what?
Employees.
You need more worker bees than you do queens.
Yeah. If there's too many queens, then there's
no work.
Nothing to get done.
There's no work. And so that's the balance. But the thing is, most people want to be the worker bee. They really do.
And like for me, if that's what they want to do, is like it's all fine. It's just
It's
that
good.
it's not me. So it's like
Don't
keep
hate-
me out of your shirt. Don't
hate on the ones that take the risk.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Because
So that's the people who think they want to be the queen bees, but then they actually get into it because the
Sure.
word entrepreneur is like so
there is, but there's also intrapreneur. There's a lot of different ways that you can not hate and still get what you want too. Right? So maybe you don't want to be the entrepreneur, but so you guys have a good friend or something, and they're like, I don't want to make my own thing, but what can I do to be your general?
Yeah.
What can I do to be your first point, your right-hand man or woman or whatever? And that's the kind of initiative that it would take to put you guys to the next level.
Yeah.
Because at this point, where you're at now, what else can you scale, right? You scale yourself up till you hit the ceiling, and then the only way to scale out from there is with other people.
Yeah, just to branch out.
So the second you hire your first assistant, even if it's part-time, it'll double your productivity because they'll do all that dumb stuff to you that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, hopefully. If they're
So that's the next.
the right one.
So that's
the
the
right
next.
person.
That's well.
How'd you go about like actually finding your first right person? Did it take a couple tries before you
Well,
stuck?
the first person we hired was Jackie, who was one of my clients and one of my friends' moms, and we had a great. It was a great thing. At some point we grew faster than she was wired for. She was older. She was wanting a slower pace and all of that. I love her to death, but I'm hoping she's happier because I am not an easy person to work with.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of training. I just go.
Yeah,
And
you
so-
just
Go and better catch up.
My guess is you guys have maybe had one conversation with Melissa where she kind of explains that.
No, I told her. I told her
Yeah.
before. I was like, if you're not ready to go, don't even call. I told her.
Yeah.
So she knew. I was like, she knew what she's getting into.
Yeah. And she's done great. And Ty, my son, he's taken the lead admin role, and he's doing great. I try not to tell him too much because, that
How does that work? Because then he feels like, from like my dad telling me to do something to like, I guess I have to do this for work.
well, to me it's all one. It's all one thing to me.
Yeah.
I'm in the development of humans business. So call it a coach, call it a mentor, call it a dad. All three of those things, in essence, are the same job. Take someone from where they are and give them the best chance to be better than you. And help them learn, but learn with safety. But learn with safety without knowing about the safety.
Without knowing.
Yeah, because if you have a safety net, you're going to act differently than if you don't.
Exactly.
If you don't take the proper risk and you don't think you're taking the proper risk, then you didn't learn the lesson.
It's like a balance beam that's 6 inches off the ground compared to 5 feet off the ground or something.
Both of them it would fall, but yeah, in essence, yes. But you have to take the risk. There's no way to artificially create risk.
Yeah, because like you said, once you know it's coming, it's not the same.
Like who here is really scared when you go through a haunted house?
I mean, I don't go to them, so I'm scared enough not to go to them.
I mean, I used to be scared. Like, even like e-liches, I used to be terrified of e-liches.
When
But
you're
I'm like,
a kid
I'm strapped in.
with
like,
an imagination
Yeah.
that's still vibrant, right?
Once you're older,
So-
it's staged.
Well,
so.
you can either let your imagination go and be creative, or you can push it down, which is what most people do. So I don't like any of that stuff. I don't like Harry Potter. I don't like I'll watch it, but for me, my brain's sitting there going, this is,
Yeah.
come on,
It's bullshit.
what is this?
Yeah.
Like, how different the world would be if our movies and entertainment were about how to create a business, or how to get better at this, or how to build a canoe. What if you made a whole movie about that? And then you have what percentage of population? Not everybody's going to go out and build a canoe, but you need some people to be inspired by that's my thing, right? And so for me, creation of opportunity is my new favorite thing to do. Helping other people change their life in a way that my life was changed with nothing more than an opportunity. It wasn't given. The only thing that was given wasn't chance. And a chance against all odds, and the right mindset, which is why most of those conferences that you go to are about mindset, because most people, you can't get past anything if you don't have the right mindset. Because the right mindset carries you through when times suck. So my guess is, like me, you guys have probably not had a hunky-dory, gloriful existence the whole time. You might have struggled at times
Oh, yeah.
to pay bills.
Yeah, all the time.
Or whatever, right? Me too. I've put my family in severe risky situations.
What's the like financial?
100%.
What's the biggest one?
I've never taken a loan to run this business. But at the same time, everything I own's at risk, because if you can't pay your mortgage, then what happens?
Exactly.
You can't pay for the car. They take the car. They foreclose the house. Those kind of things are real. And before I went to commission only with no safety net, I doubled my mortgage, more than doubled my mortgage, and I got a new car. Because getting loans when you're self-employed is much more difficult until you're successful than, and even when you are successful. If you don't do it right and someone doesn't teach you properly how to set up your business legally, either with an LLC or a corporation, and how to establish business credit and go through the whole litany of different things, there's so many lessons that I've learned on the back end that, would have been much easier if somebody would have just had a course or if they would have just taught it in school. But you got to kick and scream to get business training. Like if you go to a business class in school, do you guys go to business class?
I did. I went to
What do they teach you in business class?
I honestly don't.
And the only one I
This is
took,
a
I
bunch
mean, that I could see it was like personal finance, and there's like how to do a checkbook, like
Yeah, dumbass
pluses and
shit like
minuses, yeah.
accounting. Something that you're going to hire somebody else to do if you're running a business.
Exactly.
Yeah, I took a couple like business classes in college, and it was like accounting, business law. I was like, okay.
So what do they actually teach? They're actually teaching solopreneur. They're teaching solopreneur because why do they want to teach that? Because if you're a sole proprietor, you get taxed at the highest rate.
Yeah, exactly.
So if they can create an army of people that are just themselves out there and they've got the skills to do their own accounting and do all their own stuff, you have a farm system of taxpayers. Like why does American culture encourage kids to leave at 18? Because now you have another electric
household.
bill, another phone
person
bill,
renting.
another rent, another part of the economy. It's the economy farm. So you're going to be a farmer or you're going to be a crop.
So that's crazy what you see about like a lot of different cultures. They don't leave at 18, especially like from like Middle Eastern. They all live like in a house. They're like, this guy's a killer, this guy's a killer. They get a lot of cash and they're living in like one place. Like,
Pool their money.
Yeah.
And over time they own a bunch of stuff. They have equity. Instead of a bunch of individuals struggling, then they have the conglomerate of all of that, right?
Yeah. And then here in the U.S., it's the other way around. It's like
It's
I'm
glorified
18,
to go
I'm
like
leaving.
live out on your own at 18, but then you're struggling.
It's not that much fun. It's really not.
they go to college, they get the freshman 20s, freshman 15s.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to ask you, who's like your right hand man in your
My
business?
wife,
Okay. So you got
she balances everything out. So, yeah. She's the COO.
like so like if you're trying to do XYZ in the business, it's kind of like you guys have the conversation with her to kind of do it, or you just kind of like, hey, let's roll.
Most of the time, I'm a very poor communicator.
Okay.
So I announced the conference on Facebook before I told her, which didn't go over very well.
Surprise.
But no, I'm a fire, ready, aim kind of guy. So when I have an idea and I have a clear vision of how I can get there, I just take action. Most people get caught up in the details and never do anything.
The analysis by paralysis, and they
Yeah,
just,
over engineering a 1-car funeral. Don't make it complicated.
So that's also what we were talking about earlier. It's like if you just do it now, you have less time to think about shit that could go wrong. You just do it.
No, shit's
you get
gonna
it
go
over done
wrong.
yeah.
Shit's gonna go wrong, which is why I don't like creating a plan. A plan requires me to have detailed information that I can use. And so experience gives you some of that, so wisdom and all that. But in reality, the planning phase comes on the back end after you've had some information and you can make adjustments. So taking action is the key ingredient to success. If you just start doing things, you'll get better at them. When you get better at them, you get more success from them. When you get more success from them, then you get rewarded with dopamine and you want to do it again, and you do it again and do it again, and you get better and better and better. And it's perpetual. But most people don't like to go through the pain of being bad at something.
Yeah, they don't. They're afraid of what other people think of them. I think.
Right.
They're afraid of people's the perspective of people's thoughts that they have on them, so they just freeze and they don't do anything.
Inactivity, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of embarrassment, fear of all that. Fear of something's going to drive you, so just choose what the fear is going to be.
Yeah, that's good. What about? I want to talk a little bit about the Medicare Machine Factory. So like, how could people, like, what all is it? Because like you got the online stuff. And
right now, it's really designed for people in the Medicare insurance space, but over time, I'll adapt some sort of thing because it's a universal concept for building business and sales. Those two things make the world go round. If you can learn sales skills, you are productive in any economy, in any situation, and that what makes the world go round. I mean, obviously, if civilization crashes, then who cares about any of this stuff? But I don't see that happening. So, the Medicare Machine Factory is my way of paying it forward, and it allows me to get in front of people that I wouldn't normally get in front of, and maybe change the trajectory of their life. Because in my business, again, it's like the network marketing game, and so who you have your contracts with, as you guys saw, it can affect some things. And so for me, I want people, whether they're under my hierarchy or not, to have access to quality training, because most uplines, unfortunately, just don't know, or they have somebody that was successful in like 95 at insurance, and it's a little bit different world.
yeah, stuff's a little different.
Everything's
30
different.
years later.
So that's like going to be pretty much open for everybody.
Well, it really is. It would be a great way for somebody, if they wanted to get into insurance, to get themselves trained up. Or just sales skills in general, because you could apply the same tactics and methodologies and psychologies of selling, if there is, to any industry. You just have to get over calling yourself a salesperson. Because if you do things correctly, whatever industry you're in, you're not really a salesperson. You're really more of a relationship builder and a consultative approach to help somebody figure out what's best for them. That's what a good salesperson does.
Give the best advice. Go ahead.
What do you look for when you're like recruiting agents?
Well, it's very difficult because everybody talks the talk.
Mm-hmm.
So in some respects, you have to just recruit in volume, go through a bunch of dirt to find the gold. That's kind of how it works. So I just look for anybody who's willing to try, because you have to understand the concept of commission only. You have to understand the concept of no city paycheck. You have to understand the concept of you get what you earn. So those that are highly productive love opportunities where you get what you earn. People that are not productive love jobs where you get paid for sitting there.
So they're not doing anything. Yeah,
This is not a sitting there kind of job. Now, some insurance agents do set up that way. But a town like Fort Morgan doesn't have enough people to create a top 1% monster.
Yeah.
You have to go fishing in other pools.
It's a much smaller pool.
It's a tiny pool. There's only about 60 people a month that turn 65. So for how many Medicare agents can there be before those are all swallowed up?
Yeah, that's what. So that was another thing me and Eric were talking about. We're like, I mean, you live in Morgan, you're crushing it and stuff, but it's like a lot of people. Yeah, not here, but I mean, you're still. A lot of people
in the
think
industry,
that,
you're crushing it.
Yeah, in the industry, you're crushing it. But a lot of people like they always blame it on like, oh, it's because where I live that you can't make any there. It's like, well, it's just. I mean, I think it's perspective, because I think you can make it happen if you want it to happen.
Yeah, because they would complain about all the driving.
Yeah.
That do I like want to drive that? No. But if every time I get in the car, I think of it at the end of this rainbow I'm about to go on, there's a pot of gold. So would you go on the drive if there was money at the end of the drive? Potentially.
Mm-hmm.
If you do things right and you help somebody and you change their life, you get rewarded for that. So it's a mindset thing. Again, that's the mindset that I have. Find a way or find an excuse. Those are your choices.
That's perfect. No, that's good. So where could people sign up to Medicare Machine Factory?
Oh, geez. There is no like official landing page. I use funnels mostly. So if you just go to social media and search for the Medicare Machine Factory, there's both a public and a private group. The easiest way would just be to jump into the public group, follow the group, and then the course links and all that stuff are in there. I'm pretty easy to find, I think, on social media.
Yeah.
Joshua Young's.
People find
Not too hard.
Yeah.
Posting 7 times a day.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah, you got to stay relevant.
You got the logarithm rewards persistency, consistency, and discipline.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they do now. Facebook does a good job. So if you're one that needs to get pat on the back, like I'm one of those people, I need to know where I'm at in progress and all that. So I'm always asking what the score is. I need a scoreboard at all times. But Facebook now, they tell me. It was 60 days in a row, 90 days in a row, 100 days in a row that you had rising visibility and all that. And so, to me, that means keep doing what you're doing and do it more.
Do it more. Ramp it.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do it till they say you've done too much.
Yeah.
Slow it down.
Until the followers start going back down.
But, if you're Facebook or your LinkedIn or your Snapchat or your whatever, Instagram, you're reliant on other people's momentum. So you encourage and reward that, and they're starting to figure that out.
Yeah.
Because most people don't understand the grind. Like they'll look at a Joe Rogan, and they won't realize the progression that it started out with like a laptop probably.
Yeah.
In a garage or something.
Or have you seen like the first ones? How they've done
No.
it? Like they were just sitting there, just talking shit and smoking weed. So it's like
He is
it was
on
like
episode,
15 years ago.
Right.
He is on episode like 2000.
But
Yeah.
then,
So it's
then
like-
they do them every however often, and they
Yeah.
do them like clockwork, and they don't miss, and it becomes like a TV show because people are creatures of habit and lazy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can get part of their creatures of habit and laziness, you're ingrained in their life.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's the key.
Yeah. No, Joshua, well, appreciate it. Appreciate you for coming
Yeah.
on with us.
We out of
Dropping-
time? Good.
Drop some knowledge.
It flies, doesn't it? When we're having fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's good.
Hopefully people are taking notes because there's a lot of goal nuggets that people should actually
They should.
go back, rewatch it, grab a notebook, pen, and write stuff down. So they didn't.
Hopefully.
What's your top 2 gold nuggets of the day?
I like the Bentley stuff we're talking about. The stuff is just like perspective of how you're looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's everything's perspective. I think.
What
What do you got, Eric?
Man, I like the how you hire people. It's just like you put them in through like the intro stuff, the basic stuff, so you know like the back end of stuff before you like bring them on. It's like the inner workings.
The problem with that, though, is it's difficult to scale.
Mhm.
How many front desk people do you need at a time?
Yeah, that's true.
And how many people are willing to do that job?
Mm-hmm. And then the mindset people need to have, because if they don't, like they could have, they think they have the right mindset, but then they're not up to your level, so they're not gonna keep up with you, and they're just gonna hinder you.
Well, tip number 2 is no one's ever going to be at your level.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't look for that. Look for someone at the level you used to be, because you're only qualified to help someone get from where you used to be where you are. You can't recruit somebody on your level; they won't work with you.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't. So you need to recruit down, because that's the only way it works. So all these people will want to recruit somebody that's like, I want to recruit a monster. We got to become a monster first, because the monster don't want to work with you if you ain't a monster,
That's true.
right?
So like, why should I go with you?
100%. So yeah, choose your mentor, choose your friends, choose your circle wisely. The smaller the circle, the better. Like I said, the 5. You should have your 5 people that you spend the most time with should be the ones that are leveling you up.
Yeah, not bring.
And if they're not in any way, no offense, whoever they are,
choose your new 5.
just you can still talk to them. Just don't talk to them more often than the people you're talking to that'll get you up.
Mm-hmm.
But
Another-
we're at time. We're gonna go for another hour or
No,
something.
let's go. I'm good.
Another goal nugget: invite people to the block party.
Yeah. Yes. Send
that
them.
one.
No, send them. Not invite. Send them.
Send them.
Because you're literally. It's a very powerful experience to be able to do that, and they're gone.
I actually do on my phone. I do it a lot.
100%. Even the way it is for me, I'm easily triggered. So I either say something stupid, or I get them out of my way. Because all the social media platforms have figured out what triggers me. So what do they feed me all the time?
Just that.
So you got to understand, when you like comment, when you're feeding the beast. You've got to.
It's like the whole thing where, that one time where you put about the guy with the trailer where he parked like across.
Yeah,
and then people were just
care.
like what do you care about? Like, dude, obviously he doesn't care. Like, but it's people
get triggered by that, and it's fun for me to do that, right? But it's fun for everybody. So just I understand your own triggers. I understand my triggers, and so I remove the people that trigger me. Because otherwise, what happens?
Yeah,
I get triggered.
You're living
back and forth.
a reaction instead of action.
Right.
Like,
Stay proactive. Just keep them at bay. If they want to talk to you, they can see you at the next family reunion or whatever.
I like it. Just keep them at bay. Yeah.
At the next class reunion or whatever. So, like, who is it that you're listening to? Like, how many people on your actual social media have you met?
Yeah, a lot of them. You're just like,
not a lot.
And I always have the thing too. If we haven't talked within like the last year, we probably have to like reintroduce ourselves because first of all, I'm not in the same shape I was. I don't have the same mentality I was. So it's like they want to come and shoot the shit again. Like, oh yeah, let's go get fucked up. Let's go drink a beer. It's like, wow, I really don't drink beer. I mean, I really don't drink like that anymore. So
yeah.
So it's like I'm a whole different person. So you pretty much have to reintroduce yourself.
100%.
So
reevaluate at all times who is in your circle, and use social media for what it's designed for: keeping up with family and selling shit. Those are the two things that social media does. So everybody's aware. Those are the only two purposes. Why do you think every third thing you scroll by is an ad? And an ad very targeted specifically at what you click and don't click on. So control what you click and don't click on, and you'll start to control the advertising. You start to control the advertising, you control what goes into your brain, you control what's in your brain, you control your output.
So do you have like a certain time like of the day that you don't, because I mean you're on social media a lot, that you're off of it?
No, I use it as a tool for business.
No, but like when you go home or stuff, or you're pretty much, or like in the morning you're like, there's a lot of shit out there, I'm gonna stay away from it at least in the morning or anything?
No, for me, people are my. For those that are trying, Bradley said it best to me, or he might not be the first, but he's the person I heard him say it. The money you need grows in the pockets of other people. So for me, being an introvert, social media is the perfect thing for me. It's the perfect thing for an introvert. Because I can engage on a social basis without actually being social.
There. Yeah. So like, I'm there, but I'm not there.
It doesn't take any of my energy. Like going out, going to a party, going to an event takes everything. And the whole time I'm there, it's like I'm watching my battery thing go down, and I just want out of there. So I'm terrible at physical social. But most people look at, like when they meet me in person versus the persona I have online, they don't match. I'm a very, 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 very low key, very, very mellow, very, very Eeyore personality by nature, but I don't put off that persona.
So that's I've heard about, like, I've seen a lot of podcasts with like comics and stuff. Like people when they see you in person, you know, they're like, be funny, you know, and it's like you start your videos, I see them, you're like, hey, what's up, you know, and they're like, come on, man, like you keep it up, and you're just like, well.
It's part of the performance, and so that's part of the reason why I dress in my uniform, is it allows me to take that persona. Because when I'm in that, I'm way more social and charismatic and all of that when I'm at work than I am outside of work. Most people think I'm boring, but most people don't get to see the unplugged version because I'm plugged in all the time. Once you realize that time is the resource that we can't get more of, And so you've got to learn how to compress and be more efficient with that resource. That's where the magic happens. And like yesterday, I would have gone car shopping yesterday if it weren't for the stupid blue law.
What's that?
Well, there's a law on the books that in many states they can't sell cars on Sundays.
Oh, really?
They can't sell liquor on Sundays. They can't do so they're called the blue laws. It's basically to force these, like running a liquor store or something, running a car dealership. They're working long hours, and so it forces them to take a day off. But for what? People take days off when they want to take days off. Like, everybody understands we're all in an at-will position, right?
Yeah.
And you can just quit what you're doing now and find something new tomorrow. Look, everybody has that choice.
They can just go get
But
another
people
job.
don't like the difficulty of change. They don't like the grind. They don't like the what if. They don't like the risk. Right? So that's why the system works the way it works. Because the majority of people like the safety. I don't like the safety. I get bored really quick. I get
Do you like to have
contained.
like an adrenaline rush kind of a little bit, like of what's to come?
Well, 100%. What if you had an opportunity that if you do correctly and you work really hard at and you become the best you can be at, you potentially could double your income every year? And theoretically with no limits. The only limit is who?
Yourself.
Yourself, whenever you get
Complacent.
comfortable. So each of us has a different line. Because you know what I get asked a lot now?
What's it?
When's enough going to be enough?
I was already gonna ask you that. That's why I was asking about like, your
how
circle
much is
stuff.
enough? Well, I want to help a lot of people. So if I wanted to start an orphanage, or if I wanted to start a kids basketball camp, or I would want to do something else, how much capital do I need to do that? And so either source fund, go fund me it, or I grind it myself and I'm more proud of what I built instead.
It's about like the perspective thing.
Yeah.
People are like, they look at you and they're like, when's enough enough? Because they just think this is your end goal, but your end goal is something else. So you're like, no, I need more capital to be able to do all these other things.
When I spend money to help people, you know what I don't spend one dime on? My defense fund. I don't have one dime I spend on my defense fund. I don't have one dime that I waste on politicians' salary. I don't have one dime that I waste of taxpayer dollars that's supposed to go to do all these great things that really aren't doing all these great things. So for me, how I make a difference is one person at a time. If one of us at a time starts doing more and being more successful and is then able to choose how they are philanthropic. And I'll say it. I said it publicly recently, and I'll say it again. I went to Coach Burt's Monster Nation conference last September, and there's this really cool guy who has a ton of energy and charisma named Chuck McDowell, and he owns Wesley Financial and a few things. Basically, he used to be in the timeshare industry, and he saw how badly that industry was taking advantage of people, and he would read all these contracts, and he found where the loopholes are, and now he created an entire industry on helping people get out of their timeshares. But this guy he's a bigger than life personality. He comes out on stage with his like potato gun and shoots cash everywhere, and he lives with this mantra that you can't outgive God, and that stuck with me, and I've been living off that mantra ever since. And so a week and a half ago, an unnamed person was in a tough position, and so I reached out to him. I'd never met him before. They live on the East Coast. And I said, what's going on? They explained what's going on. And so I said, well, create an Amazon wish list and send it to me. And I'll get his. And so I had a lot of fun giving this person a new bed for their kid and all this other stuff that they needed because they lost everything. And then yesterday, what was yesterday? Sunday? The night before, Saturday night, I don't know if you guys paid attention, but if you guys didn't notice, I'm now also officially a professional gambler.
I've seen that. I was just like...
Twice in 2 years, I've now hit an 11 or 12 leg parlay. And I truly believe those kind of blessings come to me because I give without the expectation of anything coming back. And so you can call it luck, you can call it good, you can call it whatever you want. What I can tell you is I'm a professional gambler now.
Yeah, I've seen
and I've got
any courses on
cash
that now.
money. Well, here's how I do it. I just go with my gut. I just look at the list. If I have time, the other night I didn't have time. I looked down and go, oh shit, the fights are in 20 minutes. So I just went and picked.
and boom.
Well, in the first fight, the person that should have clearly won lost, and so it blew up. My other parlay was worth $25,000. So I just repicked them, and luckily I changed one or two that I had originally picked on the second without even knowing, because again I just and so I just randomly picked the 11-leg parlay. But so I believe those kind of blessings come to people that give. So I would encourage you to try to take that mantra on, that you can't outgive God, and whatever you have to give, do it. Because there's times where I'm not sure if I'm going to make payroll, and I'll still give anyway, because then it puts me in a position where I work harder. Yeah. And you know, I think that's probably my biggest takeaway from all the conferences I've gone to, is you can't outgive God.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think just give back, but then it's like we were saying earlier, to give back you need money to be able to do that. And it's like, give back to, because I don't know if your kids are like, they're doing sports or anything, but it's like, if you think about it, if you have the ability to be like, hey, you know what, I'm buying the new sports gear for the team. Mm-hmm. You think the parents are going to be like, hey, man, no, we don't want this. Of course they're going to, you know, they're going to be
some of them will be negative.
Because they're the haters.
But that's the mindset. You just block them. You still help their kid out. Because think about if you're the kid stuck in the blockhead mindset party. Mm-hmm. What chance do you have of success if your family is 3rd or 4th generation blockhead? It's tough. And so I'm passionate about kids, and I'm passionate about old people. Those are my 2 favorite populations. Sorry, middle-agers like us. Get your shit together.
Figure it out.
Figure your own shit out. That's what you're supposed to do. We're supposed to. The whole country, everything about our country is designed that people our age carry the shtick for both the older and the younger. So, get on your job and quit bitching. Yeah. Because I can tell you, you can change your life in 3 years. And you don't got to go to college is not what I'm talking about. That puts you in debt in 3 years.
Puts you further back.
If you have a clear destination of what you want to be, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be something that needs a degree, then do that. But otherwise, go take whatever class or course, go invest $50,000 in self-improvement courses. Hire a coach, hire a mentor. Do something like that with your money and see what it doesn't do.
This is crazy. People would be way more hesitant to do that. They'd rather go spend $100,000 on college than spend $25,000 or $50,000 hiring a mentor or going.
They'd rather spend $1,200 on an iPhone than $1,200 on a self-improvement course where they could buy 20 iPhones.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Why do you think that is?
Well, because we're brought up in a right now society, and the whole system is changed to maximize that. The people at the top are making, again, they've figured out this whole idea of getting 1% of 100, and they've taken it to the whole new level. Because once you have the money, it makes it easier to scale the money. Once you figure out the formula of success, success is not possible, it's probable. And when you can switch from possible to probable in your mind, like I said, make me start over tomorrow and I'll get right back where I am in faster time. Because now I know shortcuts.
Exactly. Now you know all the.
So if you can't think that you can't get where someone is, I don't care who they are, you can. How far? You think about some of these people that came where they are in how short a period of time. How old is Elon Musk? Mm-hmm. How long did it take him? 10 years, 20 years? People think that's a long time. That's not when you're in the grind.
Especially people only see the last 2-3 years.
Yeah, 5 years. Mm-hmm. I'm completely in a different place 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's it's crazy. It's just it's just like we keep saying it, but it's just like the perspective you have on stuff and the willingness to
perspective and mentality.
Because you can have, like, say you buy a personal development book, you have it, but then if you never read it, or then if you read it and you never put it into action, it's like it's never going to do anything for you.
Well, and you also got to admit that you're not perfect first.
That's why you bought the book.
That was the hard part for me.
Ego gets in the way.
Hard part for me was acknowledging that it's okay to be faulty and embracing the faults, not necessarily to glorify them, but to be aware of. It's kind of like once you understand the electric fence shocks you, You can stay away from the electric fence. And so if you understand you have an anger problem, then you have systems and processes in place that you can filter out and not be angry in the moment. That's me. That's triggered. I am easily triggered. Road rage, all that crap. Even at home. We had to clean the garage this weekend. And I lost my goddamn mind. Just because I don't like tedious tasks like that. And so I'll bitch and moan for the first 30 minutes. Therapeutically, everybody else is like, shit, not saying a word, but I have, what effect does that have on my family?
Mm-hmm.
Psychologically.
That's true.
It's a deep one. And so that's something that I'm aware of, that I try to work through. Now, what used to be a 7-hour cycle, I've gotten down to 20 or 30 minutes. But my goal at some point is to have it eliminated. But that's an example of, that's a weakness in many respects. And I'm not proud of it. I own it and I acknowledge it.
It's a weakness and a strength. It's a weakness that you have that, but then it's a strength that you know that you have that.
Correct.
Because then if you're never aware of it, then you never know it's a
You're
weakness.
not working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If no one tells you your zipper's down, can you zip it up?
No.
Not until you feel the breeze, right?
Yeah.
The point of pain. The point of pain motivates. So the point of pain is either the embarrassment of someone telling you or whatever that is. And so you either learn how to artificially create or you wait for an actual point of pain to happen. And that's really what success is those that have mastered success have mastered where to push the point of pain to. So for them, the point of pain of failure is greater than the point of pain of not having fun tonight. The guys are calling, they want you to go out. And instead of doing that, you're going to stay home and grind and consume videos or whatever it is. That's a tough decision. And for me, for a long time, I chose the point of pleasure. I chased the point of pleasure instead of avoiding the point of pain. And what ends up happening when you chase the point of pleasure is you run into the point of pain. And so when you run into the point of pain, it's called learning the hard way when you don't have to do it that way. But most humans are wired to learn the hard way for a while until they have one too many hard ways, and then they learn the easy way from that point on. Most people call that wisdom.
What was your, like you said that when you hit your point of pain, but what was your kind of initial thing to start doing personal development, to start knowing that you needed to be better?
Well, I went to a conference.
Okay. But how'd you get to that conference? Was there someone
It
that's hey, let's go?
It was on
or?
social media. They had created, Justin Brock had created a group that I got invited to that I promptly try to get kicked out of, basically, because I speak my mind. And that process led me to the conference they were going to do. And my initial reason for going to the conference wasn't a good reason. I was going there to steal ideas, like I was going to the Kentucky Fried Chicken Factory to steal the recipe or some shit. But in reality, that ended up changing the trajectory of my life. Because I didn't have to steal anything. They gave freely information. So what I was told in my head was, don't go to those conferences. They're evil. They're just going to try to recruit you. They're just going to do this, do that. Now, I did get recruited, but it wasn't because they tried. It's because what they were offering authentically was greater than what I was getting, under force.
Wait, you said Justin Brock?
Yeah.
Is he the one that you're doing the event with?
He is going to be involved, but I'm doing this event by myself.
No, but he's going to be involved in it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Okay.
I'm going to get all the top names I can in my industry involved in this event.
Yeah, because I've seen it, so that's what I'm saying. It's crazy. That's how you started, and it's
Kind of full circle.
The full circle.
100%. That's how life works. Most of the stuff you're hating on or something, the reason you're hating is because you want it.
Yeah, you don't
And
have
you're
it
mad
work.
that you don't have the recipe to get it.
Yeah, they
But like
say,
I said, find someone that has what you want, do what they do, and you'll get what they have. I promise you, anybody that follows what I do to a T, wakes up when I wake up, everything too. And I do some stuff that people that wouldn't think that would be productive.
What time do you wake up? Because you're talking shit to us that we're waking up late.
Well, today I got up at 4:30.
Okay.
I have to fight. Because as soon as the sun puts any light in the sky, my body wakes up. There's no choice. even if the curtains
just
are closed.
Is it just conditioned like that, like over
It's just
time?
always
or
been.
it
My
just
whole,
happened?
ever since when I was 3, my dad made a rule I couldn't wake people up till the sun came out. So it's just ingrained in me, and to me, it's competitive advantage. So morning people, like if you wake up at 4, and like for me, I use it to get myself, like that's my time. Where the world is, like, if you go out, I love the morning. You feel like the world's yours. There's nobody on the road, nobody calling you, nobody bugging you, and so those are the most productive hours of the day for me.
From like 4:30 till
Till
what
8.
time? Okay.
Till everybody's up. Because I can just grind without interruption if I want to. Sometimes I'll play video games for that time. Sometimes I'll scroll TikTok for that time. It's whatever. That's the time I get to do whatever I want. And then it's time to work. But, at certain times of the year, I'm grinding the whole day.
Mm-hmm. Yes, like I heard I think it was Adam Milet talk about that, where you just divide pretty much your days. Or Hermosi talks it. It's pretty much like,
I don't know if I believe in all that shit where you can stretch the 3 days into one day.
Yeah.
Now I do agree. To me it's similar in what Kobe Bryant talks about. But yes, I agree in concept, but you're not getting 3 full work days in one day, persistently and consistently. But what you can do is make a really productive day every day. And again, if you're working from even just 5, from 5 to 7 every day of the week, and just call it 5 days a week, that's 10 hours a week times 50 weeks a year. Let's say you take 2 weeks off. You've got 500 hours of something ahead of somebody else.
yeah, whatever.
And if you put 500 hours into anything, whatever it is,
Yeah, you're bound to get better. I don't think you're going to get
Right.
worse.
right.
That's the thing that I was trying to find is like, what's the most productive and sustainable way to keep doing something? Because then if it's not sustainable, then like, what's the point? You're going to stick with it for a couple days, couple weeks, and then you're going to leave it because it's not sustainable?
Well, I think you just need to find what you're passionate about, because then the productivity and the sustainability come hand in hand. Like, I love what I do. If I didn't love what I do, I wouldn't grind like I do. I would keep finding another industry until I found the right thing. So yeah, the grind only happens when you enjoy the grind, and to enjoy the grind, you have to enjoy the whole thing. So it has to be a passion. You have to do what you love. So they say, if you're not doing what you love, like, whose fault is that?
Yeah, there's only one person to blame.
And no one's like forcing you into a concentration camp or anything against your will. So if you don't like the job you're in, quit. Like right now. Quit right now. And go get another job tomorrow.
Yeah, things that a lot of people that they're scared to go do that because they don't have enough. They got bills. They've created this lifestyle for them that can only function if they stay in a job, or if they keep making this X amount. And like for some people like me, I'm the like kind of like how you are, like that way. But there's a lot of people like, oh no, I need to know that I'm getting these $500 a week or whatever.
They're addicted to the salary. That's okay. We need that.
Yeah.
We need a bunch of that. So if that's you, this is not shade on you. That's not shade at all, because the world needs people that want safety and comfort, but don't try to push on other people. Just because you want to work for somebody else doesn't mean I do. It'd be very difficult for me to go back.
That's crazy, huh? Yeah. Because at the beginning, so how old are you when you started, like your insurance?
Well, when I started my agency and I actually went to self-employed, would be 37.
Okay. I'm just wondering, like timeline, like we pretty much, because it's hard to make that leap. Like when you first started, like you do this, it's just like a routine. You're just used to doing this, and then you're just like, it's probably enough. You had enough.
Well, I think every bird just has to jump out of the nest. Trust that. Just trust. You have to trust you. Figure it out. Find a way or find an excuse.
If people actually want to do something.
Well, yeah, most people don't.
That's the first step. If people don't want to do anything, then
They want to do what's easy. What's easy?
Exactly.
Talking's easy.
Talk the talk.
Typing's easy. Showing up's not. Following up's not. Showing up when you don't want to, when you don't feel good. Showing up when it's your vacation. Showing up when you should be at your kid's sporting event or something. There's sacrifices that have to be made to create opportunity for others. Like, somebody has to make the sacrifices. Somebody has to make sacrifices. In order for you to have a job, like if you wanted a job, Eric, where you could take a day off to go watch your daughter play sports, somebody else has to create the risk and take the risk to create the job for you to have the freedom to take that time off. Like, how else are you going to get paid?
yeah.
Because if you were like a server and you didn't show up for your shift, you getting paid?
Nope.
Is there like paid time off in the server world? In the real blue collar world, is there paid time off? Not really. Because most of the jobs that people that I find, like, it's mind boggling to me how many people I help that are retiring and have hundreds of hours of sick time and other shit racked up.
That they never use.
Yeah, vacation time. Now, some companies are nice and they'll like write you a check for that. But again, you're literally epitomizing the fucking equation. You're trading time for money when you should be trading money to buy your time back. You're on the wrong end of the deal. That's it.
Yeah.
And if you're at a job where you get vacation, take the motherfucking vacation. Every year I had vacation, I'd take vacation. There was one benefit I had of the other job I had. At the end, I had like 10 or 12 weeks of vacation a year. Because he wouldn't give me raises, but he'd give me vacation because he thought I was going to take that shit.
Like, I'm taking it.
I'm taking it.
I'm taking use it all up.
Taking it. Because if you don't let me take it, then that's a problem. Right? So, but yeah.
Do you think that kind of aligns with, like, you can't teach old dog new tricks? That sometimes they're custom for so long, for 30 years. And
you can teach dogs any age tricks. It's just harder to teach old dogs, just like it's harder to break old habits. So new habits are easier to break than old habits, but old habits die too. What is a habit? I had this conversation with my teenage son the other day. Let's go through this. This is good for everybody.
Yeah.
What's a habit?
Something you do over and over again every day.
Without thinking. You
Okay. So how do you create a habit?
By doing it over and over again.
So if I want to change my habit, I have to change my
Action.
Okay, to change my action, I have to change my
Mindset.
behavior. To change my behavior, I have to change my thoughts. So if you want to change your habit, first you change your thought, which change your belief. You change your belief, you change your actions, you change your action to change your habits. So you just reverse engineer that shit, and you can change whatever you're saying is your habit.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit what it is. You can unprogram it.
What was it
Because I
called?
used to chew on my fingernails. Does it look like I chew my fingernails now? Not at all. Just one day, I started, every time I went to do it, I said, you don't do that anymore. You don't do that anymore. How many times have I said today? Roll the tape, maybe a couple, because I'm still working them out once in a while. But in general, I've worked them out. Why? Because over time, I would say it. Every time I say I'll say, in my mind, I'll say, don't do that. Don't do that. And so whatever habits you have, habits are simply thoughts that became beliefs, that became actions, that became habits. So you just go back to the beginning, plant a new seed, and let that grow over it.
So it's just taking the time to actually go back and...
We got to find the root of the problem.
Yeah. Were you having this conversation with your older son or your younger son?
My oldest son.
Oh, okay.
Because he has a bad habit of not being prepared and not showing up on time. But he's frustrated with himself. How do I change that? So how do you change a habit? You go back to the origin of what's happening. Because right now, your habit is what? Why do we have a habit?
We're just used to it, I think. No?
Well, a habit pushes us closer to the point of pleasure.
So it's more comfortable. It's easy.
So if you can create your habits behind your points of pain instead of your points of pleasure, which is what most people do, that's the hack.
Just flipping the perspective.
Yeah, make it a habit where, okay, I don't like to go make phone calls. So then the first thing you do every day should be what?
Go make a phone call.
Go make some phone calls. If you don't want to do a cold shower every morning, why does that work? Well, number one, they have physiological stuff that shows that it works. But number two, it forces you to do something you don't want to do right away. Mm-hmm. If right out the gate you're willing to do stuff you don't want to do, it makes the next one easier and easier and easier. But if you hit the snooze button, first chance you get, it makes the next time hitting the snooze button easier. It makes the next thing you know, you're moving your alarm time. You're changing the belief. You've now changed the habit. So,
habits and rituals. Yeah, that's how it goes around. Okay, how you feeling? You good?
Yeah, I think we'll probably wrap it for this one.
No, that's good.
I think that's one of the biggest things people should take away. Just change your perspective.
Control this, and you control everything.
Mm-hmm. Live a action life instead of reacting. Instead of reacting to everything, you know.
That's when you own freedom. Do what you want, when you want, how you want. Only way to do that is to do what you don't want, when you don't want to do it, how you don't want to do it. So to get what you want, you got to do what you don't want. To get what you want, you got to give up what you have.
Yeah.
To make room for what you want. If your plate's full of food and then you see something else you want, what do you have to do?
Got it.
Move shit around.
Make space.
Yeah.
Throw shit off.
Uh-huh.
So,
cool.
Clean your plate before you fill your plate.
Sweet.
I like it. It's a good one to end it on that one. You know?
Bada boom, bada bing, right?
Yeah. So thanks again for coming out here, taking time out of your busy schedule. I mean, before your day gets started.
I'm on vacation this week, so I'm not doing all that. Nice. Staycation, anyway.
That works out too.
Just chilling.
That's good.
Sweet. So yeah, we'll put all your links to like your Facebook and stuff down in the description so people can check it out.
Add me. I'm happy to help anybody I can.
And then also the link to probably the chat for the Medicare Machine Factory, so they can get into that too and all that stuff. But yeah, guys, if you guys like today's conversation, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you think someone can find value in it, also be able to share it around with them so they can listen to it, take some notes on this. But with that, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. And remember that an act of rebellion is to question.
Cool. Appreciate it, guys.
Right on.
Yeah. Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated. Underrated.